My name's Kenny Easton. I live here in Tulsa, and I have a business called Frame Tech. For 40 years now, we frame a lot of homes in Tulsa and everything, and build a lot of playhouses too. Took Tech my senior year and took carpentry, and just felt like that's what I wanted to do, And as soon as I got out of school, I went to work for probably a year, and this was back in the 80s. And very tough times, but I was able to find some work, and I had an opportunity and had some gentlemen take me under their wing and put me in business at a young age. Started my business at 19. I just love the structures, putting things together, using my hands. And really, it's just for the hard labor you put into these things, you have something that you can see what you've done, and they've actually become like my monuments through life, that I can go around and for the years and point out, what I've seen and done. As a kid, it was funny. I grew up in apartment complexes, with my mother and brother, and start bringing in all the appliances to these apartments and have these big boxes. And we would construct these little forts. And I got into where I was constructing really cool forts, and all the kids wanted to come play in my fort. That was just a knack, something I was born with, I guess, and it just went to a bigger scale. I've always liked to build something, so. And then, getting involved with the playhouse and stuff just really brought the kid out of me. There was an opportunity that came up. There was a group of builders who were getting together to build some playhouses for fundraising. There were 3 being built, and we were going to design and build these, and they were going to be judged. And it became quite a game, but the third year, opportunity came up with a gentleman named Wayne Faribault with Perfection Homes. I was working for him, and he called me and says, I hear you're doing good with playhouses and stuff, and we have a situation. Little Lighthouse is having a party, and we need a playhouse, and they need one pretty quick. I said, okay, how much time I got? I go, well, I got about 2 weeks. And I go, oh, really? So I thought, well, let's see what I can do, and I thought I'd try it. So we got it done and everything, and got invited to the garden party, and we got to sit at the table and everything, and never been in a deal like this before, so I didn't know what to expect. And so here comes all the things and the auctions and everything, and then here comes the playhouse. To me, it was like going to the horse races. The bidder kept coming in, bidding up, and then the people, the crowd, the noise got higher and higher, because I was expecting, it'd be nice to raise $15,000, $20,000 for this thing. And it kept going up, and then I heard 20,000, then I heard 25,000, then I heard 30,000. And I was so overwhelmed, and actually the emotions went through my head. I actually stuck my head underneath the tablecloth. Because I was so emotional. It was just something hit me, something was grabbing me, and I just never dreamed that this would be part of my life from then on. I said, this is my spot. This is what I'm going to do. After that, got invited to the party, got to talk to some therapists there at Little Lighthouse, explaining what these playhouses meant to them and everything. And especially with the blind children and stuff, they get to go around and feel the aspect of what a roof, shingles, windows, a house in a small version that they could tell. So something just went off my mind. I said, well, we got a lot to explore now, so my mind just went erasing. Here we go. I heard 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, and I was so overwhelmed. I actually stuck my head underneath the tablecloth. It was just something hit me, something was grabbing me, and in all this, I have 5 kids, and I have one named Lindsay, and she was a special needs kid, and she was born with Pompe's disease. And very rare at the time. And actually, they only gave us 2 years. We went through a lot with her. She lived on a ventilator. She was fed with an NG tube. So the first year, we were trying to find help, and we found a doctor in New York, and we took her to New York. And so we get down there, and a lot of things went wrong. She ended up being trached, put on a ventilator at that time. Came to the point where they've done all they could do, and it was time to come home to St. John's Hospital, where she spent 2 years. She was just surviving at this point in time. Her courage to want to be alive, being on 48-hour beds 2 or 3 times and pulling through it, this little girl changed everything for me. We have lost our insurance. Insurance bankrupted us. Her mother, so at Walmart, she became head fundraiser for the Children's Miracle Network. She gets called into the office, and she's introduced to Sam Walton. And he hears about our daughter and stuff, and he asks if he could come meet her. And he meets with her and sits with her for about 4 hours, reading her books, this and that, falls in love with her. Turns around to my wife and says, we will pick up insurance on her. So, bam, Walmart covers our insurance. So come her senior year, you know, this is big time. She made it to 12th grade. Who would have ever thought? We get a knock on the door. And this nice young boy comes up to the door. Do you mind if I ask her to the prom? And, well, what? You know, and we're just like, sure, you know. So he comes in there, and my daughter's not prepared for this. She never thought this was ever going to happen. She gets asked to the prom. Just to see the joy on her face and everything, and this boy did it for her. We take her to the prom. He's out there, and he's dancing with her in the wheelchair and stuff. And me and Mom are sitting back kind of watching this, and all of a sudden, this other boy comes walking over and taps him on the shoulder and takes his place. And he was going to dance with her. I thought, what in the world's going on? And so I look over here to the right, and there's about 8 football players lined up to go dance with her. My daughter was flying. It was just unbelievable that night. And then come graduation, Lindsay graduated valedictorian. We get a phone call from a guy who has 2 kids born with Pompe's disease. He works for Squibbs and Myers Pharmaceuticals, and he says that they have found a cure. Lindsay is the oldest living person at this time with it. Kids don't usually live past 8 years old. She's around 18 at this time. And he invites us to come to Oklahoma City to do a ribbon cutting to this new facility that's producing this cure. You know, so we go in there, and I remember walking in, and you would think Cinderella entered the room, and there was people from all the nations. And I said, what's going on? He goes, well, these are all scientists from all over the world. You remember that biopsy we did way back when she was young, and she was like 2 years old, that we had this muscle biopsy done. And that biopsy has traveled all over the world to different scientists to try to find this cure. And he went over to this table and showed me these journals. And there were 3 journals there with her pictures on the face of them. So we're sitting there, and we cut this ribbon. About the time he says, and in dedication, we present this facility in your honor. And I cut that ribbon, and the drapes opened up, and they have this bust on the side of the door going into this entrance. It's a bust of Lindsay, and it's named the Lindsay Page Easton Biological Manufacturing Facility. We're just like, what? And let's see, it all really starts from here, where she kind of get my breath here a minute stuck, because when I built that first playhouse and got to know the Little Lighthouse and stuff and realized what this was all about, and man, it touched me. Realize I know this, I've lived with this, I know what parents are going through. It's my connection with my daughter spiritually, because when I go into these things every year, I start my year off where I'm in the presence of her spirit so much, and just glad to be there. I mean, she's not here with us today physically, but spiritually, I still have my 5 kids here with me, okay? It's changed my heart so much that I look at these kids, I fall in love. I see these kids, I see Lindsay in a lot of them. I see Lindsay in all of them, not just a few of them. I see them in all of them. They just, you know, they need the love, and they need the care, and they need a chance, you know, and Little Lighthouse gives that to them. Lindsay is a big part of me doing all this for these kids, and then what it does to help these kids and the connection between her and all these kids. I mean, There's nothing else I can say that this is what I love. This is my mission. This is what God's brought me to do. And I'll do it as long as I'm alive.